Then don't. Whoever said vanity becomes a Nibiran female anyway?
We look older.
Could be a good thing.
How can this be? The flowering of our youth falling away so soon.
There is little to be said. Kinesia always carries a prize, and as well makes burdens.
You seem so resigned.
Why shouldn't I be? Seems right now that we should have a different...
No, and I don't care what the doctors say. No one is going to pull the plug on my sister. And if they do, they forfeit their own lives.
Well, that is another talk we must have. It is not the one to which I refer.
So what is this discussion? I heard stepmom say we look like junkies in the hotel room.
Carmen, I quit. Do you recall what you said when I offered my resignation?
No, and I cannot recall why you offered it anyhow.
I fell so far behind the curve that I felt useless at that moment. Your reply was refusal and admonishment. You would hear no self-pity from your chief agent.
Shite, Audi. Now here I am whining like a baby about how I appear before a mirror.
Your Grace, do you believe that we have Elodiah's loyalty?
She had best be. She bent her knee. Agent, in terms of kinesia, Eli is our weakest link.
She's much more like a servant working for the Earth.
Why do you ask?
Because we have little time, and you aren't the only one that we could talk to.
All right, you two, off the chandelier now. Both you girls are batty, and no more kinesia once you land on the floor. Now, you two sorted. I got both of you leave for the first 3 weeks of bat and doctor's orders. Bulls shoot, and I'm calling foul.
I bet Telma would agree we're in top shape, and her Grace will not disappoint. Her intended consort. Come on, we have 3 weeks until induction.
I hate seeing both of you like this, so retire and sleep, as you both need more rest. Okay, thanks, Mum.
Good night, Madam Regent and Duchess.
Time to fess up. What is Mika telling you?
Mika wants Enrietta in her roots. She says she can heal your sister over time. I don't care what Agent Abbott says.
We are off our baths now.
You think so?
I think not.
There's no time for bathing or napping. Disturb no one, gather your things, and meet me in the eastern courtyard.
to.
You wouldn't be the first.
You can't seem to kill me, despite your possession of Psylocke's power.
And you may not shake me, despite being an user, the War Witch.
You, young one, are dangerously close to making me feel humor.
Do you possess some personal issue there?
So you're the heiress, Mika's daughter. I was under the impression that she batted for the other team.
My cousin has always been a team of her own.
Thank you for answering my actual question. So, cousins, you and Mika, does that make you Siobhan's brood?
Yes. Now, if you would answer a question from me.
Depends how clever you are. I hate answering anyone, and prefer being tricked into giving an honest reply, just as I did you.
Very well, I might ask you later. Instead, tell me about Mira and my mum.
First off, Mira died a few evenings ago, by way of Laranthaniel's service dynamo.
I find that most implausible and difficult to believe.
Oh, you poor naive girl. You would be amazed at what a male is capable of when he finds his neck pending separation from the rest of him.
What can I say? I'm next to speechless.
Well, you're in a mite better shape than Mira now. Mira never loved Laran. She loved your mum, and did what she did to be near Sheb.
Huh? Sorry, I mean, carry on, please?
Wow, what a polite girl you are. Mira was only concerned with her heart's desire. She was young and didn't understand nature, not one bit. Mira felt, and most mistakenly, that she could win your mom's heart. So her attraction wasn't all about your father refusing conscription. It was equally your mom's escape from the palace and Mira.
And she next found herself in another palace.
No doubt about that, she did. And one in which of the lady of the castle of Nibiru itself had to treat herself to lucidity, starting with the porter she placed on the headboard before bedtime. As the old story goes, everywhere you go, girls want to rock. So the two drank, smoked, and listened to music from the earth at high dBs.
Do you mean bands? Like Yes and Genesis?
Psylocke had pretty broad tastes, I understand, but more often really raunchy bands like Led Zeppelin and AC/DC.
Well, I'm not shocked. I have looked through my auntie's vinyl collection a few times.
The castle lifestyle doesn't accept anyone from fate, except as equal on the road when it comes to fate.
Enrietta is near to death.
Princess, you're relatively simple, and I guess your real question already. The daughter I dreamed of but never had. I would take it all back if I could.
What do you want?
Very little, but at the same time, everything. I wish for repentance.
Will you take the route?
Yes.
Loyalty to House Valmaxian arrives prior to living, and honor. Always must the crown prevail, and life yield in breadth.
There never has, and nor will there ever be, any other way.
Do my eyes deceive me? You both remain amongst the living? You two have no clue what a pain it was bending space to get out of that bloody thing. Now, what is it? Is it the smell of detente in the air?
Best get on a dress. Let's not make any odd impressions, eh?
Your advice is capital as always, even if your motivations are being embarrassed when you're seen with me.
Do not worry, there are no unseemly males about. Now, ladies, is it trouble about males, which I am accustomed to hearing?
You first, Sheb. My problem is in the past.
Sheb, cat got your tongue?
Sheb, when are you going to admit that your posture and attire are...
Sheb! Sheb, is there some dyke at the palace?
Your niece affords far too many peeks of her dress.
Why this concern? I always wear panties.
I've seen your panties. Enticing comes to mind to a male. Or her.
Sheb, your age now?
Sweet 16, and never one kiss.
Just a step now, Sheb. You must dress formally at Brayrindra Castle.
Why should I? I'm still the baby of Brayrindra Palace.
You are of age and must begin to act it. Next, you must protect yourself. Now, who is this dyke?
Auntie Arinor, it is Lauren's soon-to-be bride, Mira Lasharn.
Hell's fire! I don't know for whom to be the most concerned, you or your brother. Now tell me something else. Are you still listening to that acidic devil's music from the earth?
What has that to do with the price of fish?
To ascertain if it is possible, or even wise to assist you, I see a strong case for aiding your brother instead. Now listen to me if you hope for any help. There is a musician upon the earth named Nicky, or Nicholas. He plays, some kind of stringed instrument. His talent is remarked upon in many different ways by a large parlance of the European peoples. Now this nasty man plays solos, standing atop the conductor's chair with his back to the orchestra and facing the audience. Terrible form, but even worse, the man has a widespread audience composed of mostly screaming teenage girls.
Lady Arinor, please stop. I need the bathroom and can't miss a split nano of this.
Auntie Arinor, wait until you catch up and hear Ozzy Osbourne and Ronnie James Dio.
Do you mean Ozzy Osbourne? I haven't heard his work, but he seems a man of the devil's all right. But Dio, why is he a righteous and God-fearing man? Sing it, girls!
Holy diver!
Holy diver!
I recall now this Nicky is a violinist amidst the young screaming girls. Nicky's strings would snap and break at critical points.
As each string snapped and broke, an assortment of the screaming girls would pass out and land upon the floor.
Yes, and I will insist the devil gave the violinist this power to break those strings as he played.
Okay, back to just less than serious. And the young girls, held captive by Paganini's relative youth, charisma, and violinist skills, made their souls vulnerable when they lost alertness, thereby becoming an easy meal for which the devil could not do.
And now listen today.
Don't be a concert tramp.
And too much specificity.
Always be skeptical of higher powers. Paganini's trick was to crimp the strings.
Hell's fire, right over both your heads. Sheb, reach into that cabinet and retrieve my bong.
No, Carmen, I do not jest or blur history. Your mom wasn't just my bestie. She was also the only friend I ever had.
What about Leela?
That was a classic case of keeping your enemy closer. By then, I didn't have any friends.
The times were several. You could have killed me. Why not?
Why do you suppose I surrender?
Your Grace, she didn't want to die. Die? Bloody how? We were too exhausted to do anything but match wits. Your Grace, an unuser, you two reached your limits this past evening. The only way we may fly or sail this jalopy is due to the three of us acting in concert.
Carmen, if either of us had brought to bear against the other...
If the defender had raised her power, then you both would die. Kinesia suicide.
Do you mean we would have killed ourselves? You burned yourselves out. This can be worse because people hate and are terrified of the walking dead. Ladies, I feel as if my question has not been answered adequately. Anna, tell her.
I suspected for some time, so I let you slip through my fingers. Once I was sure you were Sheb's daughter, I lost my will. I always said that your mom, and not Mika, should have been the Princess of Nibiru. Carmen, your mom and I are or were the same age, and we came to our power far in advance of others. The few of us that inherited the trade. Sheb. Carmen, I mean, this applies to you in many ways, but most significantly, when you asked what I wanted.
Go ahead, delve further, please.
Oh, you're even polite, just like her. When you asked what, you were not Carmen at that moment. Your mom asked me, or so it seemed.
I admit I didn't know from where the words were derived.
I felt what I knew might be only a fleeting retreat from the subversion resulting from my misuse of power. When you then asked me to take the route, once again you were Carmen, but Carmen speaking with Shebon's authority. I can't recall feeling this happy since I was venturing with your mom.
God, Saadi, I feel confused. Anne, how would you feel about coming to Castle Isle and spending some time?
Very poorly, and I refuse, as it would be suitable for no one. I do not wish to burden Henri with my presence, and nor do I want to be responsible for damage to you in the court of public opinion.
Anne, this makes me so sad right now.
Please don't be. This reprieve and pending repentance is the best time of my life, and knowing that my wishes for the planet are coming true.
Anne, if you may, I would like you to continue the story with Mom and Aaron. I want to know what Mika did to you.
Niberins live here.
80% of the planetary surface. Not everyone wants to live in a densely populated area. Anne, did you ever fly to glimpse a closer view of the Day Star?
With your mum, yes.
How about one last venture? Where you're going, you'll lose the use of your body, but the Regent explains the freedom gained can scarcely be imagined.
And no one wants to leave?
Have the Ariads been paying you visits already?
I'm very uneasy about the state of my retrieve from subversion.